Glad you could make it here with us. We are going to start tonight with a presentation from one of our wonderful students, Miss Peyton Rasmussen. She's going to come up and tell us a story. And then when she finishes that, we will all stand and she will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Peyton, would you like to come up, please?
So Superintendent Butters just asked me to tell you a little bit about Peyton, and she is a fifth grader at Lowman View, and she submitted a recording of her story to the district, and she was selected by a panel of judges to present at the Weber State Storytelling Festival.
Awesome.
So she's going to tell you her story.
Okay. Hi, my name is Peyton Rasmussen, and I will be telling you the story of the Three Little Super Pigs, written by Claire Evans. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs who captured the big bad wolf in the house made of bricks. The hungry wolf fell down the pig's chimney into a big pan of boiling water. He huffed and he puffed, but it was no use. He had fallen right into the pig's trap. "I'll get you one day, little pigs," the angry wolf shouted as he was carted off to prison. With smiles on their snouts, the three little pigs waved goodbye to the big bad villain. The citizens of Fairyland were very happy the big bad wolf had been defeated. The pigs were awarded special superhero status and became known as the Three Little Super Pigs. Working together, they rebuilt the whole town of bricks to keep everyone safe. "We love you, Super Pigs!" From that moment on, the Super Pigs spent all their days being heroes and enjoying their newfound fame. When they weren't greeting their fans, they were fighting crime and stopping nursery bad guys. Meanwhile, deep inside Happily Never After prison, the very angry wolf was hungrily plotting his revenge in his cold and dreary cell. A few weeks later, the Super Pigs were called to investigate a new crime. Mysteriously, one by one, bricks were disappearing all around Fairyland. This was very strange. The Super Pigs were on the case. The pigs later that day, they received some shocking news. The big bad wolf has escaped! The residents of Fairyland were scared and once again turned to the Super Pigs for help. "Don't worry," the three heroes boasted. "We'll find that wolf and make him pay." The Super Pigs hunted high and low, far and wide and long and hard, but the big bad wolf was nowhere to be seen. The pigs searched everywhere for clues. Some people claimed they'd seen the wolf dressed as an old lady. So, the pigs rounded up all the grandmas in Fairyland, but the wolf was a master of disguise and they just couldn't spot him. Every day, more and more bricks disappeared from Fairyland. As night fell, the whole town locked themselves indoors. Too frightened to go out, they hoped the Super Pigs would find the wolf soon. He was up to something big and bad. Back at home, the first Super Pig was relaxing when he sensed something strange. Suddenly, a dark shadow fell upon the room. "The big bad wolf!" cried the Super Pig. "I don't need to huff, I don't need to puff, I don't need blow your house in because I'm already inside," replied the pointy-eared wolf. The terrified pig ran out through the front door but was met with a terrible surprise. The cunning wolf had built a gigantic wall around the Super Pig's houses using the stolen bricks from Fairyland. The Super Pig was trapped. Attempting to flee, the Super Pig tried to climb the brick wall using a ladder on the side of his house, but it was too short. "Gotcha!" growled the wolf as he captured the helpless pig. Unaware of the danger, the second Super Pig was at home, polishing his metals, when he suddenly spotted something out of the corner of his eye. "The big bad wolf!" shrieked the Super Pig. "I don't need to huff, I don't need to puff, I don't need to blow your house down because I'm already inside," growled the hungry wolf. With a huge scream, the terrified pig ran straight out the front door and into the enormous brick wall. Desperate to escape, the Super Pig jumped on a nearby trampoline, bouncing as high as he could, but it was no use. "Gotcha!" boasted the wolf as he captured the pig in his trusty net. "Two down, one to go," laughed the wolf as he prepared his delicious meal. The third Super Pig had heard all the commotion and was busy hatching a plan when the big bad wolf suddenly appeared at his window. The Super Pig grabbed his gear and raced straight out the front door and down the path as quickly as his little legs could carry him. Working quickly, he freed his captured brothers from their tight pastry blankets, but it was not quick enough. "Ha ha ha! There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. I've built a wall around your houses, and now you're trapped inside," laughed the hungry wolf. "You're no Super Pigs. You're my dinner." I don't think so, shouted the third Super Pig. He whispered to his brothers, ready, set, let's go! And in a flash, they blasted off high into the night sky. The clever brother had outsmarted the silly wolf once again. Using his jetpack invention, the Super Pigs had left the wolf trapped in his own self-built brick prison. The angry wolf raised his fist. I'll get you yet, little pigs! Up in the sky, the three little pigs laughed out loud. You'll never get us, not by the hair on our chinny chin chins. And down below, the citizens of Fairyland cheered. Wow, pigs really can fly! The pigs had saved Fairyland from the big bad wolf once again. They truly were superheroes. Hooray for the three little Super Pigs. The end. Will you now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Peyton, before you sit down, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, my name is Peyton. I'm in 5th grade. I'm 11 years old, and I go to Lowman View.
Lowman View.
I love sports, and I love to sing, and I love to do storytelling.
And you tell a great story.
Thank you.
How about, did you come with your parents tonight? Will you introduce them for us, please?
My parents are Kenyon and Amber Rasmussen.
Great job. Thank you. Great job. We'll turn a little bit of time over to Mr. Brock Mitchell now for a recognition.
All right, President Whittison, Board, Superintendent Butters, I'd like to invite Carolyn Sandstrom to come up here with me if she would, please. Carolyn is a longtime German teacher in our district, and she was recently recognized for a well-deserved Utah Foreign Language Association Lifetime Achievement Award. So I want to tell you a little bit about Mrs. Sandstrom here. I had the opportunity to work with her first as a colleague when we both taught at Fremont, and then for 8 years as an administrator at Bonneville High School. So I got to see up close and personal the impact she had on her students. She first started her journey in German as a 7th grade student at North Ogden Junior High. So you can see this is truly a Lifetime Achievement Award. And she never looked back. She used the language to earn scholarships, spent a summer in high school living in Germany, and eventually graduated from the University of Utah with a degree in German. Her teaching experience spans 34 years and multiple levels, including 1 elementary at Wasatch Elementary in Salt Lake, 2 junior highs, Walquist and South Ogden, and 5 high schools, Weber, Fremont, Davis, Northridge, and Bonneville. And she's also done entry-level German courses at the University of Utah. She's helped organize many events and trainings over the years for students and teachers across the state and truly across the world, including helping to establish one of Utah's first concurrent enrollment programs in foreign language at Davis High School in 1998. She's worked closely with Gap Exchanges, and I saw this up close at Bonneville, which is facilitating German students to exchange with students from Utah to have an opportunity to have immersive experiences in the other country. She and her husband Keith have founded the Intermountain German Exchange to help provide scholarship opportunities, lower the travel cost, and sponsor international studies for students to study in Germany. Carolyn's students have won many awards over the year, including National German Exam medals, vocational scholarships, summer study scholarships, and many, many collegiate scholarships. In fact, the accomplishment she said she is most proud of is the number of students who have won those awards more than anything else. It's the students. And she counts the hours she spent with and for her students as her greatest blessing in education. No. We are incredibly proud and thankful for all the hard work Carolyn has put into our district. She has chosen to retire this year. Well deserved after a long time in education, and hopefully Keith and Carolyn have some exciting plans after this. So congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
Hey, you can't sit down yet.
I'm not sure. Wait.
We have to open a public meeting for.
So we have to have a public, don't worry about saying, we'll just say, we're gonna call it public comment according to Heidi, so.
Okay.
We have to have that public comment just on the fee schedule, and then we have to have our normal one.
Down here.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
That's a nice pen, I might wanna take that pen.
I got a whole case of it. Company I do business with. Thank you. Appreciate that. Board, we've had a chance to review the consent calendar. I would entertain a motion to approve the calendar. Doug, a second. Bruce, any discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on, we have a presentation by Mr. Matt Williams on the proposed fee schedule for the 2024-2025 school year on a first reading.
President Widdowson, is it on? Yeah. Board and Superintendent Butters, first of all, Carrie, get up here. Carrie's my sidekick. She's my muscle. And I just wanted to start off by saying Carrie's kind of done the lion's share work of these fees, so I wanted to thank her for what she's done. We made a ton of progress this year. Our fee schedule, as you have a copy of it, is in great shape, and we've done a lot of work. We have a committee of about 45 people that attend our fee meetings, and we met multiple times this year, and everybody attended, and it was a great process. We had multiple parents, teachers, administrators, bookkeepers, all the above, so that we can, one, be transparent and get our fee schedule as good as it should be for our people, right? Our parents, the community, the teachers, and all the above. So a lot of that work Carrie has done, so I wanted to just say thanks to her. Anything you'd like to add, Carrie?
No, I appreciate the time to do it, but I appreciate the help that I also have had. Lots of help.
Yeah, so just to read the memo and to move right into it, the District Fees Committee is seeking the Board of Education approval on the school fees and spend plan for the 24-25 school year. We're asking for the board to acknowledge the suggested changes made to these fee schedules, and you'll find the changes indicated in red or crossed out on the schedules as those changes are made. This information you are viewing was gathered by working with the Fees Committee, who in return shared information with parents, schools, and departments of feedback. And we got tons of feedback, and we had great conversations around it. For your information, changes have been made to all of our 24-25 fee schedules to align with the state policies. And with the recent passing of HB 415, the school fees amendment bill, we will be updating the fee schedule as needed moving forward, but we are in great shape right now. So the district fees committee believes that this updated fee schedule and spend plan creates transparency for the schools, students, and communities. It also creates equity for all students. And based on this information, the fees committee is requesting the board to review and acknowledge the suggested changes for the 24-25 school year for the fee schedule for a first reading.
Thanks, Matt. Heidi, keep me in line here. Now we need to open up for public comment on the fee schedule, and as I understand it, we have Mr. Randy Wynn that has signed up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll catch you in just a few minutes, then.
Perfect.
Okay,
So
thank
no-
you.
No sideties.
Misunderstanding on my part, sorry. Okay, is there anyone here that would like to make a public comment having to do with the fee schedule that was just presented by Mr. Williams? Okay, thank you. If not, board, we've heard the fee schedule as outlined by Mr. Williams' presentation, and I would look for a motion to approve the fee schedule on a first reading.
Paul, sorry, really quick.
Oh.
I have two comments on
Okay.
the fee schedule. The one is, per our policy 4600 that will be approved tonight on the second reading. Under the junior high school fees for the travel for national competitions, we just need to note that that will apply to ninth graders only. And then just my other comment is, depending on the outcome of the football recommendation, the football fees may need to be adjusted.
Yeah, and that can be updated in between the first and second reading.
So those are my only two comments between first and second read, was football fees and then those national out-of-state travel for 7th and 8th graders.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Noted, yes.
So Jan, you raised your hand?
I'll make a motion that
Okay.
we make a first read
Okay,
motion.
okay, do we have a second? Bruce? Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
Let's move on now. We have a few more recognitions to do. Jared Abney, please. Oh, that's okay.
President Whittison, Board, Superintendent Butters. I'm excited to introduce Susie Long, and she has been nominated for the I Love Teaching Award. If she could come up, I'd like to just introduce her and share a little bit about her. I've worked with Susie at a different school, and as you can tell, she comes up, just her smile alone is just amazing. I've read through the nomination forms from Stacy Roundtree and from Kim Vorwaller over at Lakeview. I also went and observed and watched her teach, and I've heard from Katie Bailey, one of our special education coordinators, and also SLP that kind of supports her as well. And you can kind of see, and I can't tell you all of why she's a ninja, but she really is a ninja. And as you watch through the presentation, you'll see that she helps students learn and they don't even know that she's trying to teach them. Did I do that right? So we talked about how she's one of our SLTs that actually oversees a whole caseload at a school, which we like to think she's an elite SLT. Some of the anatomy, right, of a ninja, and the administration of Lakeview, recognizes these kind of things in her, that she has strong, engaging lessons, always has a smile, respectful to students, great student relationships, hands-on learning, and makes learning fun. Some of the compliments, as you can see, one from Katie Bailey, like I mentioned earlier, but perhaps most admirable is Susie's ability to make learning fun. She infuses her lessons with humor, creativity, and interactive activities that captivate her students' imagination and foster a love for learning that extends far beyond the classroom wall. Also, again, from administration, With Mrs. Long, all students are treated with respect. She has been able to create strong, engaging lessons with all her speech students and includes hands-on learning with manipulatives. She teaches in such a way that she has developed excellent management techniques for all students' abilities across all grade levels. A great area of strength for Mrs. Long is the rapport she builds with her students. Her attitude is always positive, and she has a terrific influence on the whole school environment. I wanted to show you these amazing skills and that these students are making great progress in their speech and language, but they're going to tell you how amazing she is. And then I even had to prompt, hey, how did she help you with the academic part? So I don't know if you can help me with the videos maybe.
I love about Miss Long that she helps me. She's really funny. I love when we do bingo and parties. And I love when we do M&M Club a lot of times. And she helps me with a lot of words when I don't know.
We had to practice a little bit to pull these off, but
Action.
So I love about her is that I'm always doing fun activities with her, and I get to, and when I go in her room to help me focus, I get to listen to country music and stuff like One Thing Right, Take My Name, One Mississippi, and another thing is we once got to eat donuts with her, and I got some strawberry milk. We've also once done this thing, you know those rockets with the soda and those Mentos? We once did that outside with her. Sometimes I get to do some breaks with her. I get to see her and, well, play with Mr. Squirrel. It's like a little puppet she has. And let me think.
How has she helped you?
Oh yeah, so without her I wouldn't get to do a lot of vowel sounds like R and an E's vowel sound or something.
So Mrs. Long is a cool, nice teacher. She can teach reading, math, not math. Okay, well, sometimes math, reading, spelling. She can help me with my THs, so like I can say 3 and stuff. And then she can also like play some cool games. Like we can play bingo. We can play like Halloween bingo, Christmas bingo. Also, every time I see her, I say hi to her. Now it's time for the stuff she helps me with, and then I'll just tell her, yeah. So she helps me with like a lot of reading, a lot of like spelling sometimes. We can roast marshmallow. No. Okay. We eat donuts. We also, I forgot.
Action.
This one, I think I'm gonna, yep. The last thing that really kind of is above and beyond is that Susie and some other staff have been able to start kind of an after-school program, and they do that on Wednesdays, and they call it the M&M Club, and you heard one of the students kind of reference that. They really focus on mindfulness and movement. There's about 22 current participants, and they try and support some of those underprivileged students in those activities. And so, as you can tell, students don't even know that they're making great, huge progress in their speech and language because Susie is a ninja. So, board, we'd like to recognize her for the I Love Teaching Award. you want a picture? Or do you want
Will you introduce,
Introduce.
take the mic and introduce your family, and then show us some ninja moves?
Okay. I have with me my husband Rhett and my daughter Rachel and my son Zach. And I will have to say, one of the students, when I first met him, his name, as he pronounced it to me, was Dwu Mahadi. And now he says Crew Mahaski, which is his actual name, and he'll soon graduate from speech. So there is some learning with all the donuts.
Picture right here. Is Mr. Crabtree here too?
Thank you again. Emily Euler, please.
President Whittison, Board, Superintendent Butters, I am so excited and thrilled today to be able to talk a little bit about Kim Skidmore. And Kim, will you come up here with me, please, for a minute? I did have to write my notes down because when I talk about Kim, I cry. So anyway, this is Kim Skidmore. She has been the chair of Christmas Tree Jubilee for 6 years. She is just the most amazing volunteer anybody could ever ask for. I had the privilege of working with Kim, or I've had the privilege of working with Kim for kind of a long time, almost 10 years now. I've only been at the district for 8, so the entire time I've been at the district, Kim has been volunteering and well before that. I asked a couple of people what words best describe Kim, and I already knew what I felt, but I asked Michelle and Jamie from the foundation office and a couple of her friends and a couple of other volunteers. And the words up on the screen are what perfectly describe Kim and the way that she deals with people, the way that she volunteers, the way that she lives her life. She's dedicated, she's committed, she's organized, selfless, loyal, devoted, generous, compassionate, diligent, considerate, determined, thoughtful, caring, hardworking, tireless, conscientious, and kind. Do you think that, Kim? It's true. Anyway, we have been so lucky to be able to work with her. And like I said, those are not only my words, those are words of our community and people who have worked with her. Kim's journey started with Christmas Tree Jubilee, or started with the foundation actually, a long time ago. In 2011, she and her husband Josh bought a couple of tickets to Christmas Tree Jubilee. And their very first experience was sitting in the very back of the room and were just taken with the cause that Christmas Tree Jubilee was supporting and were sold from that point. They were captivated with the event, they loved being there, and they both decided that they really wanted to jump in and support in any way they could. So Josh, her husband, joined the Weber School Foundation board, and Kim jumped in headfirst as the most amazing volunteer. She recruited as many of her friends as she could to come to the event. They purchased tables thereafter, I think the year after, right? Purchased a table, invited their friends, talked their friends into donating silent auction baskets and decorating trees. And then when we found out that she was good at that, we asked her to be the tree room chair. She was the tree room chair, and because of her amazing leadership skills and recruitment skills, We had record-breaking numbers of trees and wreaths donated both of those years, which brought in tens of thousands of dollars for students in Weber School District, specifically students with special needs in Weber School District. After she was the tree room chair, we talked her into being the event chair. So now instead of just worrying about one room, she got to worry about the entire event. But she did it flawlessly. She's done it beautifully. She did it for 6 years, like I mentioned earlier. And just to put that in perspective for each of you, we've never been able to talk somebody into being the Christmas Tree Jubilee chair for more than 3 years. She doubled that. So she does amazing work, and each year the event has just become bigger and better, and a large part of that is because of Kim's leadership and the way that she conducts her life. Let's see. We're so grateful for you, Kim. We love you so much. Here are a couple of other pictures. She just is involved in every aspect of Christmas Tree Jubilee. But one thing I can say about Kim is that no matter what, she always shows up, works her hardest, and does her best to get the very best result that we could ever ask for. So I'm going to play this little video next, and she might be a little bit mad at me, but listen to what she says right in the very beginning. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Count on me.
Oh, is that as far as it goes? Oh, yeah. Kimmy! So that wasn't meant to embarrass her. That was meant to show that she is fun. She's engaging at all times. She's so funny. And she said it very best. You can always count on her. So it is my honor and privilege to recognize Kim as the Volunteer of the Year or Volunteer Award for Weber School District. Thank you.
Take the mic there for a second.
Okay. So my name is Kim Skidmore. My husband is Josh Skidmore, and he serves on the Weber School Foundation. Thanks, Jim.
Josh, did you not have the Denver Broncos tickets at Jubilee? How many years? So one of the trees has a game at Denver Broncos with Josh's. Thanks, Josh.
Kim, we appreciate everything you do, and the Skidmore family. We appreciate all they do and our wonderful foundation that does so much. It's humbling and exciting to see all the wonderful things that they're involved with. Moving on, Jamie Ellis and Jenny Taylor, please.
Superintendent, Board President Widdowson, and Board, we are so excited to be here to update you on some things we've been working on as a military support team. So I'm so happy to have Jenny Taylor here with me and Melanie Malin here. And then back there is Sarah Brady, and we'll kind of talk about all the things that our schools have been up to since we met last time. So as you recall, in December, Colonel Taha was here with me, and he presented Project One. And Project One has a lot of moving parts. Part of it is our partnership with our district, and then Hill Air Force Base bringing in volunteers to our schools, creating Adopt a School, and then beginning our Purple Star School initiative. So since December, our committee's gotten together and we have focused on 3 areas for this initiative: supporting students and families, so building that connection in schools, working with our parents and our families during a deployment, aligning resources with Hill Air Force Base, and then a future role of having an advocate that's a Weber School District advocate. And then increasing visibility for students and families. So April is the month of the military child. So we'll talk about that in a minute, where we're gonna host what we call Purple Up Week. And I'll have Jenny kind of talk about that. And then our adoptive school is Freedom Elementary, and we've been making some progress there. And then having Hill Air Force Base volunteers start with us in the fall. And then the third aspect is Future Ready, so looking at internships and experiences and opportunities at Hill. Okay, I'll have you talk about this.
So we're really excited to recognize and celebrate our military children. If you were to take a survey of people around the state, most people would think all the military kids live at Hill Air Force Base, and that's kind of the extent of it. When the reality is we have military kids in every one of our schools across the state. Every district has them. We've got National Guard, Reserve. We've got people who commute that maybe they're assigned at Hill, but they don't live in Clearfield necessarily, including right here in Weber School District. So April is the national month of the military child. It's actually celebrated internationally wherever these children live. And it will be a chance for us as schools to pause and just recognize the families, the students, particularly those whose families may have had to move every 2 or 3 years. That can be difficult for those families. Or on the maybe National Guard or Reserve side, they might have deployment cycles every few years. So as she mentioned, in April, we'll be able to pause and just celebrate that. It'll be something similar to working with the PTA and the principals, where there's Red Ribbon Week, or there's Literacy Week, or Teacher Appreciation Week, but to appreciate these children. And you'll read from the quote that military children bloom everywhere the wind carries them. And it kind of describes, they use the dandelion as the symbol, that when you see, you know, the dandelion gone white, and it just blows wherever the wind takes them and then can bloom and thrive. And these children are resilient, they're strong, and sometimes they've been through some difficult things because of the service of their parents. And so we're excited to be able to honor them and pause across the district, raise that awareness. A lot of schools are doing things already with military and their families. They just maybe haven't taken the step to make it a little more official for the Purple Star designation she's talking about. So.
Okay, so like she said, April is the month of the military child. This year, we're going to celebrate it for a week, April 15th through the 19th. I want to thank the foundation because they are helping us brand our Weber School District branding. And so next time we stand up here, we'll have a pretty cool brand for you, and maybe some shirts. We talked about shirts. So I'd like to play this video for you. It is from last year because it says April 18th, and actually this year it's the 15th, but it explains what Purple Up is.
Join with Dodia in celebrating Purple Up Day on April 18th. Purple Up Day is a celebration during the month of the military child where you can show your support for military-connected children across the globe by wearing purple. Why purple? Purple is the color that represents all service branches of the military. Wearing the color purple is a visible way to show your appreciation. So show your support and purple up on April 18th.
Okay, so like I said, it's the 15th this year, and we are going to encourage, I'm going to send all of this out to all the schools. We have a Google site here. I don't know if you can click on that for me. Can you click on that Google site link? I'm not sure if it'll go from here. Oh, never mind, I'll have to explain it. So it's a Google site that we have, and it has a lot of different activities that counselors and teachers and everybody, PTA, I've really encouraged our administrators to reach out to their PTA and get them involved, especially the 4 schools that are working towards that designation. I'm going to take this part just here and talk about the adoptive school. So we met with Hill Air Force Base, and we're just working through the MOU right now. We should have that signed probably in another month or so, or a few weeks. We're going to have a back to school night for them that's going to be hosted up at Hill Air Force Base. So that's one thing we're excited about. And then Jenny's going to talk about the work she's done with Purple Star Schools and legislative funding.
So we're really excited. I know Sarah Brady's here from Majestic. We have 2 elementaries, 1 junior high and 1 high school all ready to go. The Purple Star designation it requires an official application, and you might be aware the school has to have certain parameters in place. One being just this awareness and some training of how to support military students, a committee that involves maybe some of the teachers and staff, but also some military members from the community. They need to have some type of a reinforcement or an activity that celebrates military or veterans, which many schools are already doing. And then there's an element where they can have their website linked to different resources. So again, think of those active duty families that move in and out. They come into North Ogden, or maybe they live in South Ogden or West Haven. Where do they find the resources they need? If they lived on base, maybe they'd have those readily right in their neighborhood, but we want them to still feel welcome in our community, whether they live on that base or not. So that's some simple website linking. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just help direct and connect to resources. So we're grateful to those schools who are getting going on the application process. We hope they'll then be willing to talk to their sister schools and let them know, even though there is paperwork required, it's not meant to intimidate or get in the way. And I'm really excited tonight to make sure everyone's aware with this legislative session that just ended. In Governor Cox's recently passed budget, there is funding to expand the state's program for the military supports teams. If you're aware, in Davis County, again, they do have a large number of students, but not the only students for the military families. They have an entire support team dedicated at the district level to then help support those families, to support the teachers, to support the students. There's additional funding that is ongoing funding specifically written in to support Ogden, Weber, and Tooele school districts. So that's us. We're excited. We don't know exactly what that will look like. I'm sure it will be work in progress. But just as a quick anecdote to this, the first time my husband deployed as a member of the National Guard, when we had children in school, my oldest daughter was in 1st grade. Some of you have heard this story before. She was a 1st grader. She was barely 6 years old. Her dad was leaving for a year. We had other children at home. I felt as a PTA mom it was important to talk to the teacher and the principal and make them aware of the situation, though as a part-timer we didn't live on base or associate with other military families. I sat down with the teacher. I sat down with the principal. I said, hey, Megan's dad is going to be overseas in combat for the next year. And they kind of looked at me like, okay. And I looked at them, okay, and they didn't know what to do with that, and I didn't know what I wanted them to do with that, to be honest. I don't know what I expected or hoped, but I felt they needed to know. I felt that would be relevant to my small child. And so these military support teams and this funding for these advocates and just this raise of awareness will help us also help the teachers know how to support those families, how to help the principals be aware that even if you don't live outside of Hill Air Force Base, you have military families. And some of those, we speak of different demographics and marginalized or underrepresented. The military is kind of its own demographic. And so we're just really excited. We're grateful to the legislature and for Governor Cox and his Department of Military and Veteran Affairs for putting funding in place, not just a mandate. And we're excited that in this case, it's not just a mandate to require more things, but it's a real opportunity to provide support and bring our neighborhoods together. I think as more teachers and students become aware of their military counterparts, we'll just be stronger because of it.
I'm just going to end with a thank you to Hill Air Force Base. We were able to go on a tour there, and it's an amazing experience. If you have not been there, let me know. I think I can hook you up with a tour. It's pretty amazing. But we took a group of people there. We had some people from Ogden there as well. And here's a picture of us. But here's some of the feedback. And I chose this feedback because this is what our students need to experience. We were overwhelmed by what we saw, and we're excited to have this partnership so our students can have this experience as well. But I've been blessed in my career to have many amazing experiences. Touring Hill Air Force Base was one of the most amazing of all of those experiences. I was first and foremost reminded of the many military children that we get to serve in our schools. I was amazed at all the STEM and intern potentials that Hill Air Force Base creates. We're missing out on many possibilities. I believe we can continue to foster this educational relationship and create many opportunities for our youth going forward. We are charged with enormous responsibility to educate and inspire today's youth to help prepare them for life. Hill Air Force Base can help us do that. I immediately felt the heartbeat of Hill as I met Air Force personnel who exist to protect our freedoms at a moment's notice and families who need support. I saw a vision of teamwork, one entity supporting the other. The welcome and kindness we experienced on base, along with the awe-inspiring efforts of the base, were a joy to experience today. I will long remember the F-35 up close in view from the flight tower. So it's quite amazing. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you have.
questions?
If there are any.
I have a
want-
question.
please,
Oh, go ahead, Jenny. Go
I
ahead.
just want to thank Jamie and Superintendent Butters for being so supportive of this. I know we have another parent, Amanda King, who's a spouse of a National Guardsman, that kind of brought some of this to the forefront and the attention, and she's quietly been working behind. But Jamie has run with it, and Superintendent Butters has given all the support needed. It's a sad statistic, but outside of Davis School District right now, there is one public school in the state of Utah with the official Purple Star designation. We're about to quadruple that by adding 4 from our district, and that's just in the pilot. For her efforts in communicating with everyone, the support from the district level, we're excited to see where this goes. So I just wanted to quick shout out and kudos.
Wonderful, wonderful. The recent deployment of the National Guard, did that impact our district very much? Do you guys know?
You could probably
Yeah,
speak to that better.
we have some families, a lot of that will be the Tooele area. It took a much bigger hit, but we'll have, the way the National Guard works, as long as you can get to your guard duty station on the weekend, that can be your unit. And so for example, my husband would have drilled in Draper or Camp Williams in Riverton. We live in North Ogden.
Yeah.
So the geographical boundaries, that you might have seen in the news this recent deployment cycle, it's the largest group to be taken from the Utah National Guard in a decade. It's over 200 at a time. And so we've got that, but Hill Air Force Base is constantly moving. They're never all at home at the same time. And so in addition to the movement of households every 2 or 3 years, we've got the world's at war all over the place. We have people in very dangerous places doing very important jobs at home and abroad, and it puts a certain stress on their spouses and their children. And for us to be able to empower their teachers and administrators and classmates to help serve and support them, I'm just really excited, and we'll see in the next few years other districts will be saying, and we're doing what Weber did because we learned from Weber, and Weber really set the stage. So it's easy for Davis to do because they're right literally in the middle of the geography of
At
it.
the end of the runway.
But we're taking the lead and running with it, and we can be proud of that, and we're being very helpful to the rest of the state.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Questions? Thank you.
You bet. That'll make a huge difference in a lot of lives. That's wonderful. Let's see, let's move on to the public comment portion of tonight's meeting. We have 2 patrons who've signed up, and we want to remind them that each speaker will have 3 minutes to offer some comments and feedback. When you step up to the mic, will you please state your name, the school that you're affiliated with, the city of your residence, and the topic that you'd like to address. And if you're talking for yourself, representing yourself or a group. So we have 2 here. Let's start with Mr. Randy Wynn, please.
Thank you for having me tonight. As you say, I'm Randy Wynn. I'm from North Ogden. Since before Major Taylor was our mayor out there, I've been involved in our city, and pleased to know Jenny and Brent. We in our schools there, our grandkids all went up through the schools in North Ogden, so we've been interested parties. I represent not a group, but just myself, and Janice sends me every month the agenda. And as I looked at the agenda, I was trying to think of, there seems to be, to me, something lacking. And I hope to be helpful tonight, not be critical. But I know several teachers in our area, and I listen to them. And I would like to see more listening to them in this meeting. I don't see it on the agenda. And as I've talked to these teachers, there's 3 things that I come away from that are common with all of them. And I would just suggest it as something maybe to concentrate on. I look at them as the players. I'm a football fan. As the players on the field. You guys are the coaches, and you're very important. But the playing gets done on the field, and so I think we need to really pay attention to them. The 3 things that I gathered from them: number 1, they are very appreciative of the monetary recognition that has been given to them in the last couple of years. That has helped them, their attitude, and so forth. The two problem areas that I see are number one, they seem to think they have a lot of administrative things to do. Now, that could be federal, state, or district, and I'm not sure. I didn't get into the detail with them, but they say that they have to spend more time than they would like to doing this stuff rather than teaching the content. And so that they see as something that would be nice to have be alleviated. And I don't know how easy that is to do, but I'm giving you the input. The second, and one I think that you could address, is discipline. Discipline problems in the schools, I can tell by their attitudes, it discourages them and it causes, their morale is not high because of it. Some talk about if they could find another occupation, they're going to go to, that kind of talk. It's serious enough. And even though they have appreciated the monetary, they say that the job would be so much more enjoyable if they had administrative backup in their disciplines. I talked to one teacher and he says, I try to maintain them in the classroom. He says, I'm pretty good at that, but sometimes it just gets so bad that I send somebody down to the office. When they get down to the office, whatever they do to him, I don't know, he says, but 10 or 15 minutes later, they come back with a sucker. And this is a 6th grade teacher, I believe. That's not the kind of back. When I was a kid.
Thanks, Mr. Wynn. We appreciate it. Your time's up. That's been wonderful input.
I hope you can do something with it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Mr. Brandon Parr, please.
Good evening and thank you for your time. My name is Brandon Parr. I'm a resident of West Haven City. I've given you all a print off of, it's easier to show it in a visual representation. This area that's in the picture portion is the new elementary school. It also outlines, the colored lines are 1.5 miles as you drive. As you know this, and I'm going to kind of read through this just so I can stay on time, but I have 2 children that currently go to Country View Elementary. One is slated to go to the new elementary school for the 24-25 school year. I reside 0.69 miles away from this new elementary school, which puts my one daughter in a walking, let me read so I don't forget, walking distance as per the school district. The first day of school is coming up. It's 168 days away from today. So when we see this new construction as they progress, and we see that this new school is between 4700 West, which is a Utah State road or a UDOT road, and UDOT reports this road to have 6,400 cars daily on this road, and I assume that'll increase as traffic goes, or as this growth continues. And then it's also sandwiched between 5100 West. The west side of this road is Hooper. The east side is West Haven City. Neither roadway, 4700 West or 5100 West, has sidewalk, curb, or gutter. That's not improved. As we describe it, there's no safe passage at this point. Let me see. Both on 5100 West, from that 3500 south up to, or 3300 south where the school is, down to that new subdivision on the west side, it's open ditches. So again, this also intensifies the no safe passage for these students to walk in that walking distance. West Haven City, so this came to my attention about 1.5 months ago, and I've been a squeaky wheel on this. I've reached out to everybody at West Haven City. I've contacted Weber School District. When I communicated with Weber School District, they've just essentially said this is West Haven's problem. I've addressed it with the interim city manager at that point, worked with their public works director. I got some community outreach page that they communicated some of these things, and then they said this is the next best step. I know a few of you from my employment, and so I had a little bit of a Rolodex of who to contact, so that's been super helpful. West Haven City applied for a WACOG grant. This was applied for 7/11 of 22. This is to improve that 5100 West corridor at the and widen 3300 South. Scott Venstra, he's the public works director for West Haven City. He said that they did get this awarded, but those awarded funds will not be available for a year after the school opens. This becomes the problem, right? Is we don't want to be reactive, but we want to make sure that we have safe passage for these students to walk. When it puts that $2.7 million price tag on this road improvement, sorry, I guess in closing, I just wanted to see if a busing plan was appropriate or a possibility. I know they're going to work on some road grading, but I thought I was going to have that within 3 minutes. That happened fast because I'm on TV. Turn that TV off. My blood pressure is up.
You've done pretty well, and that's a concern. We want our children to be able to get back and forth. I noticed you visited with Mr. Findley for a little bit.
Yep.
Did he help answer some questions?
Yeah. So as of today, we made a lot of progress. We're still waiting on some answers. There's some information that we just don't know yet. And as of what West Haven can do and what we can do as a school district towards like a busing plan, there's yet things to be. I want to be part of this resolve. So I appreciate your time.
Can I speak to
Please.
that? There's a gentleman sitting right behind you there, Mr. Dave Hauser. You've spoken. Yes, we've engaged with West Haven City as well, and we will have a plan around the safe route. Okay, in terms of busing, and we're working on that. So we appreciate you bringing your concerns forward, though. As a parent, we need to hear those perspectives.
Well, thank you. And I've talked to Principal Skeen as well. So as committees develop,
Great.
I've offered that assistance as well. So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
We love that. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in and sharing that with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brandon.
Let's move on now with some discussion items. Superintendent, please.
Well, Board, we're moving along here. Thank you. As you know, with your support, we've undertaken quite a restructure of our Human Resources Department. And as part of that restructure, we've, with our aim has been to really restructure things and reallocate some funding around staffing to provide more support for our employees. And as you know, we've talked about this in special board sessions before. We've moved payroll and our employee benefits over to our HR department to create some alignment and some support pieces there for employees. We decided that we needed to create a new position in order to provide more support for our employees across the district. And so we opened up a position, Human Resources Director for Classified Employees and Benefits. We just completed the interview process. We had some great candidates, but there was one that stood out. And she is somebody that we have relied on greatly in our district for many years. She's been a dedicated employee in our HR department for many years. She has the trust of our employees and has worked closely with our classified employees over the years and has all of the credentialing that we feel was important for that role going forward. And so, Board, I'd entertain a motion to approve this employee, and as we approve that employee's new position, I would hope that we could circle back and I can tell you a little bit more about her and remind you about how great she is. But I'd recommend to the Board that we approve Lori Adams as the new Human Resources Director for Classified Employees and Benefits for Weber School District.
Thanks, Superintendent. Board, I'd entertain a motion to approve Lori Adams as the Human Resources Director for Classified Employees and Benefits.
So moved.
Second.
John, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Awesome.
She
is. She's hiding. I saw her come in. Yeah. So, Lori, would you come up to the mic?
Come on up.
I thought she left.
We'll embarrass you while you're here.
There's many in the room that know Lori, but I don't know that we've been introduced for a long time to her credentials and just her experience, her amazing experience. This is just a little bit of background on Lori. She graduated from Snow College with an associate's degree, went to Weber State, where she got her Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science, Health Ed, and Nutrition. She's also, as you know, been over our employee wellness program for many years with that background. She graduated with a Master's of Management with an emphasis in Human Resources Management from the University of Phoenix, and she's also has the necessary credentialing for Human Resources Management. She's worked for Weber School District for 15 years, is that right, Lori? And she's worked as our health and wellness specialist as well as served as an assistant human resources director. She has a son, Hunter, who is married to Annie, and I'm sure that they're here tonight, and a daughter, Hannah, who's a junior
right now at Fremont High School, and we just want to congratulate Lori and let her know how much we value her and how happy we are to have her in this situation and position. Thanks, Lori. Would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I would just like to say I'm very humbled and grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, board, and for your trust. And I wouldn't be here where I am today if it wasn't for the amazing leaders that I've had over the time that I've worked with the district. So I've been privileged to work with some amazing people, and I look forward to continue to working with Nicole and Quinn and our HR team to serve our employees and provide the support that they need. So thank you.
Would you like to introduce your family too while we're clapping for you?
So I have my family back in the corner, my mom and dad, and then my son Hunter and daughter-in-law Annie, and then my daughter Hannah, and then my brother. I don't think he wasn't here for this tonight. He didn't know, but just happened to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Let's go on to the AB block schedule. Brock Mitchell, please.
All right, President Widdowson, Board, Superintendent Butters. As we discussed last month in the study session, we were looking at the possibility of a AB block pilot at 2 of our junior highs. In that time, since then, we've continued some discussion, some research into where we need to go, the trainings that would need to be put in place. Just want to remind you about the components that our teachers actually gave as supports for moving forward with the block schedule. Some of those that came out were the opportunities to double block certain classes to help close learning gaps, the ability to lengthen class periods to provide more meaningful opportunities, especially in our hands-on courses, to be able to make sure they have enough time to complete those activities, increase teacher prep time to create engaging lessons, work collaboratively with peers, and complete their grading on their preps during the school day to try and alleviate some of the stressors of taking that work home. Increasing the opportunities for students to have choice in the junior high, going from 7 classes to 8 classes, allowing them to explore more of the elective opportunities, and then working towards the alignment of all of our secondary schools and their bell schedules to, again, provide those opportunities from school to school. The support for the staff that we've talked to was just about a 5-to-1 ratio to move forward with this plan. The one concern that came up over and over was the training going into it, making sure they were prepared for that. And so we've talked with the principals of the 2 schools to work on a training plan, working with our curriculum department to make sure that we have all the necessary supports in place as we look at this possibility moving forward. And we feel like we've got those in the infancy stages, but by the time the training will happen in the early summer, we will be ready to go if this is a recommendation that's approved. So with that being said, the recommendation is being put in front of the board that as a secondary department, we move forward with a block AB schedule pilot at Rocky Mountain Junior High and Mountain View Junior High for the 2024-2025 school year. Are there any questions I can answer?
Thanks, Brock. We go through a lot of things in these meetings, and I'm not so sure there's been an item that's got the pot boiling as much as this one has. Yeah. So, well done. Thank you. Board, I need a motion to approve the junior high plot AB block schedule at Rocky Mountain Junior and Mountain View Junior for the 24-25 school year. Janice, a second. Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, thank you. Principal Skeen. You moved, I was looking for you someplace else.
All right, President Wilson, Board, Superintendent Butters. I'm here today to recommend a name and mascot for our new elementary. I've had the privilege of being a part of this process, and it's been an exciting process. It's not very often you get to name, to work on naming a new school and creating an identity from the start, so we're excited about that. If it's okay with the board, I'd like to take just a couple of quick minutes to go through the process, and then at the end I'll recommend a name we've come up with. See if this works. It does. Okay, that's the committee. We had 7 members of the committee, the community through parents, with 2 from Hooper, 2 from Country View, 3 from Canesville. 1 more from Canesville due to the fact that there's more students coming from that school. We also had a city representative from West Haven, as well as a classified and certified employee. And in addition to that, we had our assistant director of elementary sat into the meeting, and our director and assistant director of facilities participated in that process, and our chair over the naming process as outlined in the policy is Mary Jo Williams, our director. Just real briefly on this, we wanted input from the community, and the way we did that is through an email that went out twice. They had a Google form link they could fill out and name and mascot options that also went on our website. We had 4 categories that came out of that the committee had sorted them in, and you can see the categories as such. We had several with the name Haven in them. We had some with the name West and Mountain. We had some family and city names that came in, and also miscellaneous category. From there, the committee sorted those names and decided as a committee to eliminate West and Mountain due to the fact that we have several with those in them already in that area, and ultimately came down with looking at Haven and miscellaneous as those categories. From there, the committee came up with 12 options in the first go around of name options. Haven resonated very much so with the committee, and as you can see on there on the left, you have the 12 names that were selected, and those are the top 7 that they ordered them. The way we ran that is each member had a chance to order them through a polling process, and so it's an individual response, and then it orders them as such. From there, on the right, you can see we came back a week later after some discussion, and we limited it down to 7 and did the same process. The one name that consistently came up through that process, as you can see, is Haven Bay. The others changed orders slightly. The reason the discussion for the committee is we talked about that. We are right by Ogden Bay. It's right in the area. It's in the community. We looked at geographic location. We looked at so many factors in there as the committee looked at potential options for names. In addition, we looked at what the name Haven meant. The committee really liked the fact Haven is a safe and peaceful place. It's a place of safety, of refuge. And we can't think of a more a fitting name for a school, especially at the elementary level, than a place where students can come and feel safe and peaceful. And that's what we want to build in our schools. It's important to us. With that being said, we move on to mascot from the naming portion. Mascot was a similar process. There's something really important with the committee we wanted to look at, and that's not repeating a mascot currently in our district. That eliminates a lot from the get-go. As we looked at that list, there's several already utilized right now, but we wanted our own identity in place that we could look at and not repeat. We also looked once again at geographic location, taking consideration the things I previously mentioned with the bay close by. There's also in our building a waterfowl theme. It's beautiful. There's a lot of exciting, neat things going on in our buildings that are coming up. And throughout that building, because of the location, you have several different type of waterfowl throughout that building. With that being said, we did take this to the students. They did have a chance to be able to provide input from those 3 elementaries, Country View, Hooper, and Canesville. There was a K through 2 discussion and a 3 through 5. And I'll tell you what, in addition to going through mascots, the excitement for our school was at the top of the list for those kids. I had a chance to personally visit, and it was the most rewarding couple hours of my life in the last couple months. I absolutely loved it. They were so excited for the school coming. Showed them some pictures, and they were really excited about what's coming. That's the list in order of the students. The committee took it back with the list that we had right there and discussed it again. And our committee looked at multiple factors our students aren't going to necessarily have that we already have talked about previously. And the committee polled on the left there. You can see herons, badgers, huskies, and hornets was the top 5 results of the 10. And on the right, we did it again after visiting with the students, and that was the order we saw on the right. With that being said, I want to thank the committee for the process we've gone through. And from that came some recommendations I want to share with the board. As we looked at some symbolism there as well, and the demographic, the dynamics of that building right now. We had one that perked to the top multiple times. And then as herons. And heron symbolizes wisdom and good judgment, elegance and patience. Wonderful qualities we hope our students have, and we hope that as adults in the building we can model that for our students. And as we looked at all those factors and considered everything that's out there, the committee ultimately came up with a recommendation to go to the board with Haven Bay Herons as our recommended name for our new elementary located in West Haven. If there's any questions, board, happy to answer them. Thanks.
You did have a picture of a heron.
I did. I should have put it on here, right?
Okay.
There's some beautiful pictures of herons, yeah. And yeah, I don't have one with me right here, but there's some beautiful pictures out there you could put on there. So
You need to start carrying one in your
I
wallet.
know. Dang it, I forgot it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's yeah. But
Any questions, board, comments? I would entertain a motion to name the new elementary school, the Haven Bay Elementary, as the Herons. Motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Jan, thanks.
Haven Bay
Second.
Herons.
Of course,
Bruce.
you're on the committee.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
thank you.
job,
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Principal Skeen. Yes.
I would just like to say how much I appreciate the process that you have gone through. That's not easy. It takes time and commitment, and thank you so much for doing it the right way.
Justin has worked very hard and worked with fidelity and real integrity on that process. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Approval of the junior high football committee recommendations. Mr. Matt Williams, please.
President Whittison and board, once again, you get to hear from me. I apologize for that. Superintendent Butters. I wanted to just walk you through briefly the last couple of years. I've been in this role for not quite 2 years yet, and this discussion has been a part of the last 2 years of my life. It started a long time ago. Some of you know I was a head football coach at Bonneville High School 15 years ago. This was a discussion back then, and it was a part of what do we do? What do we do? So I'd just like to start off by telling you, first of all, we in Weber School District, we offer 11 sports in the junior high. I've been a part for the last 3 or 4 months of the Wasatch Front District Athletic Directors Committee, and we meet monthly. And as we started talking about athletics, it was all about high school. And so as I kind of felt more at place there, I started asking them about their junior high sports and what they do. And what I found out is we do 11 sports activities. Davis School District does 6, and then Granite does 3, but it's just more of a where they get together and practice and play some games, and that's about it. Nothing really official. Ogden School District does do some sports, but they have 3 junior highs that participate in that, so it's on a much smaller level. And so we quickly found out that what we're doing for our junior high kids and offering opportunities is unmatched in the state. And so I want to start off by telling you that. If you look at these numbers in this column 22, 23, these are all the participants for our junior highs last year, with a total down there at the bottom of 2,537 kids that participated. Pay attention to that, the highlighted area in football. Last year we had 347 participants. This year we had 208. And that brings our discussion a little bit full circle. But I wanted to, for a second, focus on what opportunities our kids are having. And these are just those 11 activities that we do. We're not talking about the choir outside of that, and the band, and the plays, and the different things that our junior highs go above and beyond. And so out of the total number of junior high students that we have in Weber School District, which is 7,600, 7,688, 33% of them are participating in activities, which is great. I'm a firm believer in kids come to school not just to go to math class, but when they're attached to something else, they do better in school, and we require them to do better. And we're doing lots of great things in the junior high for our kids. And I think, I don't think we realize that in Weber School District, because we do it, and that's what we do, and we've done a great job. And so as I met with all these other ADs, they were in awe at it, and they can't imagine how we do it. So I start my presentation with that. At the beginning of this year, last fall, we put together a committee of the junior high football committee. We had 3 parents on there, 5 junior high administrators, 5 junior high football coaches, past and present, a high school athletic director, 1 high school administrator, a secondary director, an assistant superintendent, myself. And the reason that was made with a junior high focus is because I spent lots of time at the high school. And the high school, if we had a high school presence on that committee, they want all the 9th graders right now. And so I sit between the high school and the junior high to help continue to support the great things that we're doing for junior high and continue to support the great things at the high school. And so we did that with a focus on junior high. So, because the high schools want the 9th graders, all of them right now. So I also met with all the junior high football coaches that were our current junior high football coaches at the time, just to hear their aspect. Every single one of them talked to me about they loved junior high football and what a great experience it was for kids. They also all talked to me about the struggle that it was with the numbers that we saw. And so it was a great opportunity for me to learn from them and to talk with them. And I wanted to give them that opportunity. 3 main concerns as we met as a committee that came to us quickly: participation, as I showed you, cost and participation, and then safety. As I met with coaches, we were learning things that our coaches were unaware of, some of the safety requirements of, for instance, reconditioning helmets and things. And so we, last year, as an example, we hired a football coach about a week before the season started at North Ogden Junior High. And had no idea a lot of the requirements that come with being a football coach. And that's a huge safety concern for us, right? Having been there and knowing what all those things that we should do. So the safety is more than just the level of 9th graders playing against 7th graders. We sent out a survey, and I want to just spend the next couple minutes on the survey. This was the information that went out with the survey. You've seen this before. One thing that I'd also like just to bring your attention to is that second bullet that says, for the last 6 years, due to low participation in our junior highs, we've combined at least 2 schools. It's actually 3 with Snowcrest, and it was really close to having to combine 4 schools into 2 this last year. So they get 6 games instead of 8, 7 or 8. And then, like I said, this was all the information that went out with them. This is the survey questions, and I just wanted to list those, but here's what the survey came back. You can see that it's 50-50 across the board. In fact, with the decreasing numbers of participants, fewer games, should we continue 811 to 812? It was very, very even across all of what we found out. Taxpayer money, financial costs, what do you think in support? 51% to 49%. And then safety, 50-50, whether or not we should continue it. The last question on the survey just said, we gave them 3 options. Of those 3 options, which would you suggest? As you can see, soccer was the highest. Boys volleyball was the second, and then golf was third. So that was the survey, and that was the information I wanted to share with you. So, board, in conclusion, I just, as a representative from the Junior High Football Committee, I'd like to recommend to the Weber School District that the football be discontinued at the junior high, with the option that we open a study immediately to see what we replace that with. We know Title IX requires us to have equal opportunity for both boys and girls, and we would take a year to find out what we replace football with. So, President Whittison.
Thanks, Mr. Williams. You and your committee have put a lot of hard work in this, and we appreciate it. I feel like you've done a thorough job of investigating it and done very well, so thank you. Board, I would entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Junior High Football Committee to discontinue football for the reasons cited by Mr. Williams.
I'll make that motion.
First, Kelly, thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Second, thanks, Jen. Any further discussion, any questions?
Just a question, what was the vote of the committee?
It was unanimous,
That's
Mr. Hirsch. So,
yes, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you bringing that up. It was a unanimous discussion, unanimous vote through a thorough discussion. Everybody understood, and the battles that we're fighting will continue to get worse. And so I appreciate that, Mr. Hirsch.
Okay.
Yes, Janice.
I was really impressed by reaching out to someone I know who has coached in the district for 45 years, also has a son who is coaching, and he felt very strongly that things would be encouraged if the junior high was eliminated, the football program. He said the high school would benefit, and he said that at the junior high level there are lots of other opportunities where kids can participate. And so I would support and appreciate what you've gone through.
I appreciate that, Janice. There are tons of opportunities, and hard thing, difficult thing. Being a football guy, it's hard for me, but it's the right thing.
I just have a comment. I just wanted to acknowledge that this won't make, there are going to be families that are disappointed by this decision, and I just want to acknowledge that this is a hard, that the committee spent a lot of time, and that there will be families that will be disappointed, and that's really hard. But I do think also we have to acknowledge that how many of our coaches aren't coming back?
Right now, out of the 7 that we have, 4 of them have taken jobs elsewhere.
So that was a significant factor to me, that most of our coaches won't be coming back. And it's not just the cost, but I think, and then the safety issue, but the cost of building the new, or investing in the new junior high, that was huge. And then also just to acknowledge that we are going to put forth an effort to educate or give the families of kids involved information about the rec football programs that are available and that are a similar cost to families.
Absolutely.
John, go ahead.
So, thanks, Mr. Williams. I know this has been long drawn out as long as I've been on the board.
You bet.
It's emotionally driven,
Yep.
mostly by parents,
Yep.
but that's okay. It's the right thing to do. I thank you for your committee. And at the same time, I think the ball should not really go towards Mountain View, saying that was the final decision.
No.
It's the right thing for the whole district, where our district's the only one in the state that's been providing it.
Absolutely.
So when you look at that, you look at coach retention and all them struggles, and the next football coach, I just thank the committee, the recommendations, we support it, and let's hope we can fill it with something. I don't know how the girls are going to do boys soccer, but that's all right.
We'll absolutely, given time to survey, to figure something out, we'll provide something great for them to do in the fall. So
Great, thanks. And I think your committee was done very well.
thank you.
Matt, just one thing,
Yeah.
would just congratulate you as well. That's a tough decision
Mhm.
from one that has been that route.
Yeah.
And I think as we look forward to maybe some mapping of the high school and some of those things that can take place there that will bolster that and give those kids that have the opportunity and have the desire to play football to be able to play at that level
Yeah.
with a safety in mind.
Absolutely. Lots of opportunities still to play football.
Right.
And we can do a better job at the high school and supporting Rex and the Ute League and different things. So we will do that.
One thing we haven't really brought up, but this is just kind of a side note, it will make us more competitive in those sports at the high school level because they'll have 4 years in the same program.
And that's exactly what the high school would tell us in everything that we do. As I met, when I was coaching as an AD, all those things, that's exactly what they fall back on is 4 years. So, yeah.
Anything else? Let's see, we've got our motions in order. All in favor of this recommendation? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Well done. Great job. Heidi Alder, please.
Good evening, board chair, board members. We have several policies we're presenting on second reading and one new policy tonight. I will go quickly through these because we did not have a lot of changes to the majority of the policies. The first one is policy 1110, board members eligibility and qualification on a second read. We did add a section. State law requires us to have a state complaint or a complaint process for ethics violations for board members, and we realized that we didn't have any section about what the ethical responsibilities are, so there's not really anything for people to complain about. So we did add a section about ethics that we borrowed largely from the State Board of Education bylaws, their State Board of Education bylaws, and that is found on page 5 through 7. All of the print and the words in pink is that new language. That is all the changes for that policy, and we present that to you on second reading for adoption.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I should say just with the notes that there's a few minor changes from what's on here to what with the USBE change. Yeah,
that's right. We tried to catch all of the changes. Like I said, we adopted it primarily from the USBE bylaws and tried to remove USBE and make it WSD, but there are some minor edits that Board Member Larson found that we'll make sure we fix before it's printed.
All right, thank you. Board, can I have a motion to approve revised policy 1110, board legal status, on the second reading, please? And Doug, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on. Policy 2340.
Policy 2340 is our bus transportation. This is the policy that we amended and presented last month to allow available space on the buses to be used by students that are not within that area. And the only change we made was to add the date on page 2 that the applications for available space will be accepted from August 1st through September 15th. So there's a window of time as opposed to an open-ended period of time.
Okay. Wonderful, thank you.
We present that to the board for adoption.
Council.
Oh, I apologize. There was an additional change made. Just to clarify that the rate per mile will be the lesser of the IRS approved rate. So there was one other change with regard to mileage at the end of that policy, and that's
okay.
Those are the only two changes since the last reading.
Council, I wanted to ask you, in consideration of this in formulation of the policy, did you deal with the rural aspect of the valley? Like
That's a
there
good
were
question.
some issues there because of the rural nature.
Right. This policy change was brought to us from the transportation department, and I'm not sure if their concerns came from that area. I'm going to defer to Heather Hardy, who worked with the transportation department on that, if you want to speak to that. Oh, Brock and Heather. Sorry.
You thought you were done tonight, didn't you?
The concerns were not from the valley that were brought to the transportation department. The concerns came to us because of the scattered nature of the requests. What they wanted to be able to do is to set it early in the year and not have students as the snow starts to come. make those requests, because what ends up happening is they run out of space, and it puts it on the transportation to basically turn them away. So they wanted to have families plan ahead, but with the caveat added in there that as families move in initially for the first time at any point in the year, then there is a window where they can still apply. But it didn't come from the valley.
So I would consider that in the future, if that continues to be a concern, they should bring that to the board again for policy. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, board, I would ask for a motion to approve revised policy 2340, bus transportation, on a second reading.
So moved.
Jan, a second. Kelly, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. Go
Do
ahead.
you want me to continue, President?
Please.
Okay. The next policy is policy 4190, the concussion and traumatic head injury policy. This was presented last month. We are required by law to have a concussion policy. Most of what is in here is statutory. There's very little discretionary practice that we had to discuss, and there were no changes between the last reading and today. So we would present policy 4190 to be adopted on second reading.
Thank you. Board, I'd look for a motion to approve the revised policy 4190, concussions and traumatic head injuries, on a second reading.
So moved.
John, second. Bruce, any further discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Go ahead.
The next policy is policy 4500, extracurricular activities. This was just a new policy, it's an updated policy that included UHSAA's regulations that we simply didn't have in policy. There were no changes from last month to this month, so we would propose that policy 4500 be adopted on second reading.
Thank you. I'd ask for a motion to approve revised policy 4500, extracurricular activities, on a second reading, please.
So moved.
John? Jan? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Policy 4600 was first introduced 2 months ago, and we put it on hold last month because the day before the board meeting, there were some concerns that were raised, and we wanted to take it back to the policy committee to make sure that those concerns were addressed. The concerns primarily revolved around employees who were asked to go on these overnight travel trips with our students, and whether or not the district would pay for not only their travel, but the activities that we are asking them to then chaperone the students for. And so we discussed with the policy committee and various stakeholders and determined that as long as the activities were approved by the overnight travel committee and the direct supervisor in advance, then the district would cover the costs that are associated with chaperoning and supervising students on overnight travel trips.
Thank you.
And that's the only change to that policy.
Okay, board, I would ask for a motion for the approval of revised policy 4600, student overnight travel, on a second reading. Janice, second. Kelly, any questions or discussion?
No, I just wanted to make the comment that this policy, we've been working on it since like July. It's been a long time. So I just want to thank Heidi and Heather and Nancy and Jan and I both sit on that committee. Also, we both appreciate the stakeholders that have come to us and said this isn't working for us. And Rod, he's been in the middle of this as well. So I know this is a long time coming. And I also know, anyways, we've put a lot of work into this. So I just wanted to thank you guys and also thank people, the stakeholders who have reached out to us with their concerns.
Thanks. Everyone in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
And that's all for our second reads.
Okay, and we have one more.
One
right?
more new policy, policy 7145, which is a district personnel or employee electronic device policy. It provides some parameters regarding appropriate use of employees' electronic device while at school, and any device that is paid for by the district. There are some parameters about how those can be used for both personal uses as well as employee uses, restricting
conduct that would constitute bullying or other activity that violates state and federal law, and also notifying employees that when they do use their personal devices for school or professional reasons, then that information that they're sending could be subject to GRAMA. Just putting that on, putting people on notice about that. We present policy 7145 to the board on first reading.
Thank you. Board, I'd look for a motion for the approval of new policy 7145, district personal electronic devices on a first reading, please. Janice, second. Bruce, any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
This month.
This month. One bite at a time. We'll get through them all, won't we?
That's our purpose.
That brings us to the end of our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance and your participation. And we'll see you next month. Second. Thank you. No.
Good work. You did a 2-hour.